Now, Bavs came for him, in a sense, Bavs Arsenal fan. These are the same men that mentally fold at Anfield every year, yet still win the league, which is what I was referring to beforehand. You know, City don't win at Anfield, but they still go on to win the Premier League. It says individual games don't decide the title; it's the consistency over the 38, which is what I agree. I've said it over and over again in private, in group chats and things like that, and even in just Twitter replies and whatnot. I'm like, people want to put this narrative out there that Arsenal lost the league when they drew to Man City. They didn't play against Man City like they should have. They didn't go out and attack them. I don't buy into that because they had 10 games, if I'm not mistaken. So it's 10 games. Pretty sure it's 10 games throughout the season. So there you go. They drew 5 and lost 5. If any one of those ends up being a win, so instead of drawing, they get a win. Instead of losing, they get a win. If everything remains the same, they go past, Man City in that instance there. 91, 92 points. They win on 92 points, right? The fact that City managed to pull a couple of those that would have been losses into draws, or maybe, we're winning and ended up being draws, that makes a difference. Those 2 games made the ultimate difference. So you can't tell me that they lost it because of one game away at the Emirates. And by the by, Arsenal were ahead on 13 or 14 goal difference at one point. Look at this goal difference, 62-62. Let me zoom it in a little bit more so we can all see a little bit better. Here we go. Look at this. 62 goals each. Man City scoring more goals, but Arsenal conceding less goals. So it balanced out in the end there. But you can see it there. It became very, very tight at the end. Look at us. 10 draws again. Those draws, man. Luton. Who else we had? Luton away. That was a massive one. Brighton. There was another draw that we had. The one against Arsenal at home. Arguably, that should have probably been 3 points. The 2 against United absolutely fucking shit me. You get 3 points in each one of those games, you end up being number 1, man. I don't understand, bro. It's mad. It's absolute madness how this shit turned out, right? But to go back to this, to say that, one game was the decider, I don't buy into it. But let's hear what Rodri had to say.
What does the manager do? What do you guys as players, what sort of demands do you put on each other?
I think, to be honest, it's in here. It's the mentality. Great players are all over the leagues, all over the clubs. Arsenal also, they deserve us. They went there, they did an unbelievable season, but I think the difference was in here. When they come here, when they face us here in the Etihad, I saw them, these guys, they don't want to beat us. They just want to draw, and that mentality, I think we wouldn't do it the same way, and we catch it, and at the end, if you give us 1 point, we will win the last 7-8 games, even though how tough it is. So I think it's terms of mentality.
Was that the self-belief even then that you believed you would win?
Fucking hell. Arsenal fans, how do you feel hearing that, man? I'm not convinced that one game is what ruined it for you. They want to run this agenda. By all means, they can run this agenda. Not for me. I don't buy that. That one game absolutely put you to shreds. I do not buy that for a second. I think there was more to this. If it's everything is equal, if you're both equal footing, same wins, same draws, same losses, and you don't get 3 points from this game, then you could look back and say, you know what, we really messed it up here. We really should have got points in this game here. But to say that they didn't play here and that's why they came here for a draw when we've literally just seen this, 5 draws and 5 losses, if that draw ends up being a loss, they fall a little bit further behind and they get more points on you, which is why a lot of fans said at the time, I'd rather take the draw at the Etihad, not go on and try and beat them and then expose ourselves and get hit on a counter-attack and win our remaining games. If Arsenal just won that game against Villa, everything would have been done and dusted. Everything would have been fine at that point, but it wasn't to be. Ended up being a loss there. That could have made a difference. Before that, drawing to Fulham, losing to Fulham, losing to West Ham, drawing to Chelsea, drawing to Tottenham, drawing to Liverpool. Who else did they have? They also had another game as well. Bloody hell, there was one more game that they lost as well. It escapes me at the moment. I can't remember, but all these games, just take 3 points, 4 points out of those games. You win it, man. You absolutely win it. Yeah, we definitely could have Could have done more, DJN. Definitely could have done more if we just took our chances in front of goal. But hey, man, Rodri came for a whole fan base, a whole club with this. Why is my mic so far away? There we go. Apologies for the noise. Came for a whole fan base. What are we saying? Obviously, you're not familiar with title races on how to win them, but games against your title rivals are worth double the points, which is why you lot celebrating a draw at the Etihad is so pathetic. Again, another faceless Twitter account. Why the fuck do you people exist? Why can't you just fuck off into your own space? It fucking pisses me off. I hate this. Fulham, yeah, they lost at Fulham away. They drew to 10-man Fulham at home at the early start of the season. Madness. Aston Villa, yeah. Again, the Aston Villa game was the one for them. It was Crystal Palace for us. After that, the United draw, and then losing to Everton, and the West Ham draw for us. It was done. Even I said it back then. I'm like, it's over. It's over. What do we got here? Where does he say that game decided the league? He says that game, he saw the mentality of Arsenal wasn't the same. But that's just one game. Every other team that they played against, they went for it. They beat every other team pretty much. But obviously, we know that there was the loss at Villa. Every other game was a win, except for the draw at City, of course. Okay, Power, parking the bus in a low block, something you losers celebrated when 3 points would have made you champs had no relevance. When serial winner like Rodri tells you a bunch of bottling losers how to win a league, you don't say, yeah, but no, but. Again, are they a City fan? Tottenham, rivals. Fair enough, rival fans, I get it. But you can't sit there and say this one game is why you lost the league. I don't buy it. I don't buy this one game being the reason why they lost the league. They had many other opportunities to go out and do something. They didn't. They beat Wolves. They smacked Chelsea. Bayern Munich in the Champions League. They lost to Aston Villa. Then, of course, before that, they beat Brighton, the 0-0 to Arsenal. They beat Luton. They beat Brentford, beat Newcastle, beat Sheffield, beat Burnley. They beat West Ham. They beat us, Nottingham Forest, Palace. Premier League. This is the one here, 2-1 loss. They lost to West Ham. They drew to us. It was another one here, Villa 1-0. See, these are the games you look back and say, you know what, really should have done more there. That should have been win. They lost to Newcastle. Any one of these games here, they probably end up winning. I think they drew that game. I think they drew that game. I just hate faceless Twitter accounts. I just absolutely hate it. It just pisses me off massively. And it's not like they're giving you any new information. It's all this bullshit like little stats and shit like Arsenal players have now won, blah, 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 and your team could never, and ha, ha, ha. It's all this online banter bullshit. To me, it's just childish. I just can't stand it. Give me something I can use. Give me something tangible at least. But yeah, these results here, these are the results we look back and say, yeah, the draw away to Chelsea when they were gifted. They were gifted away back. Chelsea could have won that game. Obviously, the 1-0 against Man City was massive for them. The draw to Tottenham, they'd let Tottenham back in the game there. There it is, the 2-2 draw. These are the games you look back and say to yourself, you know what? Probably should have done more. Those are the games. It just sucks that we're at this position now where you look back and say, well, this one result is why you didn't win. And it's like, man, miss me with that nonsense. Yeah. And as I said, City would always not win. They'd lose or they draw at Anfield, but they still go on to win the league because they beat everybody else. And that's just it. You didn't lose to Man City. You beat them once and you drew with them. You got 4 points out of 6. If they lost both matches, you can say, you know what, probably should have gone there and gotten a draw. If you got the draw, then you go back and say, actually, you probably should have gotten the win. You can't just keep rewriting shit. You stick with one thing. It is what it is. The Villa games where Arsenal had the opportunity to take control, didn't learn from their earlier draws and losses. Man, the same could be said for us. We were absolutely dog shit. That last month of football, I just want to forget it. And I started saying it first. I'm like, man, instead of finishing the season with the bang, we ended up finishing the season with the whimper, and it actually did become a whimper, even though we won, away to, we drew to Villa. That fucking 3-1 up, and then he's like 3-3. Just like, bro, why can't we just fucking win a game, even though it doesn't mean anything? Imagine that game meant something. Imagine we needed to win to continue being in first place, whatever. That would have been finito. Thanks. Finito. Done. Thanks for coming. See you later. 2-0 at home to Wolves. Yeah, it's all nice and all that, but it just makes the afternoon nicer with Klopp's farewell and shit like that.